right up on you with his bayonet stabbing you in the side. It don't make sense. So after it's all over, I recall one time I fell flat on my face, man, after it was all over. They said, that's it, the scenario's over, folks, you can go home. And I turned around thinking I'm going to walk somewhere, and I was on my face, man. I was out for the count. You know, I don't know how long I was out, but that's the way it happens, because that mind was working. I was burning up calories, and I wasn't putting anything in. All right? And that's just from experience. Our folks, again, have no experience. A lot of folks don't have no experience in what I'm talking about. Food supply. You know what happened. You know how we get. When it's an emergency, we're going to go in and take. So all of these, what you call corner stores and your supermarkets, no food. Stock up on food now. Get you some dry grains. And you remember those of us who was in the Nation of Islam during those days? You might remember that used to always be the key, man. Stock up on something, man. I remember many times my father had 2 or 3 50-pound bags of beans in the closet, man. You know, people make fun of us. Yeah, you got them beans, you're eating it, gassing up the place. Well, let me tell you something. What's coming down the road pretty soon, you're gonna be glad to give off the gas, knowing that you got something to produce the gas. You know? All right, so we're talking all lines of communication being cut. That's your food. Your roads are going to be closed off. Food supplies are going to be rerouted. And like I said, the first time I spoke, I mentioned to some brothers, because that falls under the Department of Logistics as it relates to the military and the government. You won't be able to get a head of lettuce unless they give it to you. All right? Unless they give it to you. So, I don't know if you know, they also have the anti-hoarding law. You can't have supplies no more than 45 days. There are reasons why they have those laws on the books. They know what they have planned for you. It's clear in their mind what they intend to do to you. And if they walk in on your house or whatever the case may be, and they see you've got 6 months, a year supply of food, you know, they're going to like, I think this person knows. But under the law, you know what they're to do with the food when they find it? They are to destroy it right there on the spot. I don't know if you know that. So they walk in and drag out your big bag of beans and your rice and your cans of tuna and salmon and everything else you got. They are to destroy it right there on the spot. And they're to do it in such a way whereas the other people who see it, that's to increase the fear in them. Well, I better do what this guy says, or else, you know, he's going to put me out there and throw some fire on me. Suicides. Oh, yes. I'm going to smile in that day. Suicides. I'm going to tell you why I'm going to smile. All those simple-minded Negroes who spent all their time telling us that nothing was wrong. When it hits the fan, they're going to take their own lives because they ain't going to know what to do. There'll be nobody that they can go to. All right? And don't think they won't do it, especially the black middle class. They work hard, man. 2 and 3 homes. Big fat bank account. All the time they spent Europeanizing their kids. And all of a sudden the Europeans going to come kill them. All right? I pretty much put in parentheses, those would be your truth rejectors. And I like I usually tell some of the brothers, or some folks that I encounter like that, who may tell me, no, ain't nothing going on. You know, I only got one sentence for them, or one statement. I say, if you get in my way, when that battle starts, I'm spanking you. I'm spanking you. I'm not going to spend a hot second trying to explain nothing. It's too late for that. As a matter of fact, because of the way things are going to go, and remember, the way you train is the way you fight. Do you watch what's going to happen? You're going to see folks who's going to look at some of us who know what's going on, man, and they're going to be able to pick you right out of the crowd. He knows what's going on. Let's follow him. And even from the sincerity of your heart, if you wanted to really train them, you can't do it. You ain't got the time. Time is against you. Judgment has been passed, so to speak. You spent all this time denying it or taking it as it's a joke. And I gotta say this about some of the church folks. They got one foot in the church door, they got another foot in the world. And the reason I got one foot in the church is just in case there's a heaven. And the other foot that's in the world is, well, I know that this is real because he's real and he's paying me. You know, and let's get one thing clear. The devil is not some guy with a red suit and horns underneath the ground with a pitchfork stabbing folks in the side. That's my brother's cracking up here. All right, we need to get that out of our mind. When you sit down and read that Bible, let me tell you something. I break that book down. Me and the brothers that I study with, when we go through that book, you wouldn't want to be in the same room with us. You'd be crying. You would really be crying because the stuff that we pull out that's in the black and white, that's sitting there in your face telling you war is coming. People is going to die. Some people are going to win. You know, most of our folks that read the Bible don't know where they're at in the book. You know? I mean, you can go to the continent of Africa. It's not to change the subject, I just want to say this real quick. You can go to the continent of Africa, and so-called Africans don't always call themselves African. They refer to themselves by their proper nouns. I'm from this tribe. Here's the history to the people of this tribe. But you can't do that with us. All right? We say, well, we're African, and that's supposed to be some big newfangled title now, right? And you get 100 of us in here, and we'll all go to that continent, and everybody will come back with something different from the other guy. But yet when you go to Africa, they're not all doing the same thing. You have some things that's only unique to particular tribes that they do. Yes, they live on the same continent, but again, they know who they are. You know? And African, what's that? That's not what we are. Yes, the landmass is physically there, but we have to go back. What does it say? The beginning of wisdom is when you can call things by their proper names. We have to stop calling ourselves all these newfangled names because they've got nothing to do with us. "72 hours psychological warfare intensifies." All right, this is where the white man is dropping leaflets. He's speaking to you on a loudspeaker. He's talking to you through the radio, through the TV, telling you, all right, look, there's no point in you black folks trying to hold on. All right, we got you surrounded. You're cut off. So why don't you give up now while you got your lives? Man, most of our folks are going to fall for it. They're going to fall for that. They say, come on, Joey, it's the easiest thing to do. Come on, man. Brother, be smart and live. And they're going to open them doors and come on out. And you may even think yourself, well, maybe you got a point there. I mean, look, they didn't shoot him when he walked out. They put him in the back of that army truck. When I last saw him, he was alive in the back of the truck. Well, little do you realize the brother's on a conveyor belt, hands and feet all tied up. He's about to become dust. All attempts will be made to crush the opposition. That's us. We are considered the opposition. I recall listening to some tapes that I got where one of the brothers mentioned that whether you want to count yourself as part of this or not, when it starts, for all intents and purposes, they include our elderly, our teenagers, our babies as being in opposition to them, ready to fight and take them down. Everywhere I go, I always have to give you this caption that I saw when I was at Fort Bragg. This is what the white man says on his poster. He says, we give all of our enemies the maximum opportunity to give their lives for their cause. That's on a poster down at Fort Bragg.
Repeat that.
On the poster it says, we give all of our enemies the maximum opportunity to give their lives for their cause. And it shows you a white sergeant with an M60 machine gun staring back at you on the poster. That was a poster I saw hung up in the barracks. Yeah. Yeah. And I got something else to lay on you too. Do you know that a lot of these rednecks, or these crackers we talking about, who don't like me and you, man, do you know that they really fall in love with you when they find out that you're a brother who got some backbone and can fight? Do you realize what they live for? The rest of the folks that consider them to be, they call those wimps, man. Wimp saps. They got all kinds of names for the other brothers who talk a good talk but ain't nothing. You know, I mean, they want to drop the stuff on those guys and never